it's not meant to be constraining. It's meant to be an acknowledgement that if I have some money set aside for the unexpected, how does that make me feel? And it is a bit of a delayed gratification, right? Because you're making decisions today that are going to affect you tomorrow. And so it may feel a little bit constraining. But I would suggest, and just from my own experience, and probably yours too, is that I have been in situations where I didn't have the savings for the unexpected, how I felt. And I've also been in situations where I could easily handle the unexpected, and it feels a lot better.
America Saves Week, February 25th through March 2nd, is about more than helping Americans understand the importance of saving. It's about getting them to save automatically. Since its inception in 2007, over 650,000 people have taken the America Saves Pledge. On today's Sound Living, setting savings goals and developing a plan to achieve those goals. Sound Living is a weekly public affairs program produced by Research and Extension at Kansas State University. I'm Jeff Wichman. K-State Research and Extension Family Resource Management Specialist Elizabeth Kish says this year's America Saves Week, which also includes the Kansas Saves program, is focusing on saving for the unexpected. Elizabeth, is this something that you would characterize maybe more as an education and awareness campaign?
Sure. America Saves Week is for awareness to help Americans understand the value of having some savings for a variety of different purposes. It's about understanding the process, being able to talk about savings, make it as easy as possible through automation, and then some information about how to go about doing it.
One of the things we always talk about is the fact that you need to probably start by just reviewing your current financial situation.
Yes. Like anything, you don't know where you want to be unless you know where you are. And so, goals are sort of, people roll their eyes when we talk about setting goals and some of those things. But for savings, it really is more about, I think, picturing what you can do with the money or feeling how you would feel if you had some money set aside for a variety of things. Does that make you feel secure? Does it help you to sleep at night? Just really thinking and feeling about that and trying to visualize what it would mean, what you could do with it.
That's interesting because we know how we feel when we don't have the money for these things, but we don't think about how would I feel if I did have the money.
Right. And sometimes you feel how you might feel, and then for example, if we think about saving for the unexpected, often we think that means something bad happens and you have to cover it, or you have to figure out how you're going to react, repair your car, buy the new appliance, fix the roof, whatever it is. But there's also these unexpected things that you could think of as opportunities. For example, maybe you had an opportunity to visit someplace, and if you had some money set aside, you could do that comfortably and not worry about it.
You talked about setting goals, and that's one of the things that this plan will help you do?
Well, America Saves Week and America Saves in general, and Kansas Saves is sort of the state campaign in Kansas. The idea is to set a goal and then save. And your goal may be to actually reduce debt or to increase savings or do a little bit of both.
How do we start? Where do we start making these decisions? Because like you said, people get a little bit leery when it comes to making goals.
Right. So I think one of the things that we're talking about this year is maybe how to save $500 in 10 months or how to save $250 in 10 months. And if you can do the math, you understand that's like $25 a month for 10 months or $50 a month for 10 months, $100. Whatever it is, it can be small. It needs to be realistic for your situation. So if it's $10 a month for 10 months, you would end up with $100, and that's still more than you might have already. So keep it real and realistic. We all love the grand gesture, and in our minds, sometimes we think about the grand gesture, but really it's the turtle, not the hare. It's the slow and steady wins the race.
And start as early as you can.
Right. Start as early as you can, age-wise, but also in the year. So, for example, here's another thing. Some people it is February, the holidays are behind us, but maybe the bills are not yet behind us. So you might think about, well, what can I do this year, throughout the year, small actions, maybe save, again, $25 a month, put it aside specifically for the holidays at the end of 2019 so that when they come, you've got some cash and maybe you don't have to use your credit card.
And when we talk about setting aside, are we talking about a separate savings account?
It can be a separate savings account. It can be a box, an envelope. I mean, if it's big amounts, you probably do want to keep it in a financial institution somewhere safe. But if you're just getting started, just keeping it somewhere where you know where it is, but you're not tempted to like dip into it, that would be good.
We don't have to freeze it in the refrigerator like some people
Oh,
do.
yeah. Some people freeze their credit cards. I suppose you could freeze your cash. Yeah.
The idea here, though, like you say, is really to put it someplace where it's accessible but not easily accessible.
Right. And again, it depends what you're saving for. If you're saving for a larger purchase, for example, maybe a down payment for a house, or you're putting money aside for retirement, or if you have young children and you're thinking about preparing to have some money set aside for them to go to college when they get to be that age, then eventually you probably would want it in a particular account. If you're saving for the unexpected, an emergency or an opportunity, then maybe you even just try to keep it in your checking account, but know that you're trying to increase your monthly balance. Although, depends what your willpower is on that one. And sometimes it's easier just to keep it in a separate account. And nowadays, financial institutions and with banking online, you can see these things. And it's kind of fun. You know, you log into your online account and you see your savings balance going up.
And that's really the key, isn't it, is to do this on a consistent basis.
Right. Consistent is very important. So, and many of us try to have a routine, for example, a monthly routine of paying the bills. You know when you get paid. So like I always try to pay my bills on the first day of the month. And one month recently, I got out of sync and I actually forgot to pay a bill. And I got an email, oh, you didn't pay this. I'm like, oh, I forgot. I got out of my routine. So routines and automation can really be helpful.
Sometimes we think there is no more money left in my budget. There's no way that I can even do this $10 or $20 that you're talking about. How do we go about really analyzing our spending habits and finding some of that money that we could use in another way?
Yeah, well, first of all, let's be clear. There are some situations and some times in our lives when we truly cannot save. And that we understand. And in those situations, we're working to increase our income or to change some of the regular bills that maybe are now too high, unsustainable. And so we have to change our situation. But in general, if you're pretty much getting through the month, that means there may be some ways, as you said, to sort of look at our spending and see what we could do. And, the low-hanging fruit is maybe the eating out, convenience foods, the soda drinks, some of those things that can be enjoyable. Call them spending leaks because they're automatic purchases that we sort of just make and we don't necessarily think about them. So one thing to do is kind of look at all your spending and say, well, am I really enjoying this? Do I still want this? Or would I prefer to take that even $2 a week or $2.50 a week is $10 a month, right? So that's maybe one less coffee or one less something, and put that money into savings for something else. Other ways that might free up some money that our households don't necessarily notice as much is if you turn the heat down at night, you might lower your energy bill. When we get into the hotter months, turn up your air conditioner so it's not so cold. You can think about substituting at the grocery store for maybe a little less expensive item and still get the same nutrition and the same enjoyment out of it. I think we can look at our entertainment, which is not to say we shouldn't have fun at all. It's just a matter of really kind of being deliberate about, do I enjoy this? What else could I do with my money? Because really that's what it's all about. We all have a budget constraint and we all want to, as we say, maximize our utility. We want to optimize our enjoyment. And how we do that is everybody does it differently and we can do it a lot of different ways.
You mentioned the grocery store, and one of the things that I've started doing is downloading a lot of the digital coupons and trying to go just about every 2 weeks so that I'm not constantly in the grocery store, because I'm one of those people who see something on sale and goes, oh, I'm probably going to need that eventually. maybe I do, maybe I don't. I'm probably overspending just because of that.
Yeah, well, and I think especially this time of year too, I know a lot of people in January, sometimes they like eat out of their cupboards, or winter's a good time to do that because it's cold lately. We don't necessarily want to get out. So if you take inventory of what you have in your cupboards, what is going to maybe not be as fresh soon, even canned goods. I mean, I've been looking in my cupboards and some of those things are like years old and I bought them because, well, I might need them. I like this food. I'm probably going to eat it. And just be a little bit planful about what you have, how you can combine it. And in the short run, I mean, so that is a short run strategy, right? But on the other hand, it's also less waste. You bought it once, maybe it's not what you're really hungry for today, but can you eat it? It's only one meal. That my father always says, there'll be more meals.
Well, yeah, some of those strategies that we implement when we are tight on money, we could probably do more throughout the year if we just had that mindset.
Yeah, and I think partly it's not meant to be constraining. It's meant to be an acknowledgement that if I have some money set aside for the unexpected, how does that make me feel? And it is a bit of a delayed gratification, right? Because you're making decisions today that are going to affect you tomorrow. And so it may feel a little bit constraining. But I would suggest, and just from my own experience, and probably yours too, is that I have been in situations where I didn't have the savings for the unexpected, how I felt. And I've also been in situations where I could easily handle the unexpected, and it feels a lot better. And so once you've had both of those situations, you're kind of like, oh, I like the better feeling one. And so it's a little bit motivating in itself.
America Saves Week is always kind of broken down into separate days, things that they focus on. What are some of the things that they're going to focus on this year?
So this year, there are themes for the different days. And so Monday is Save with a Plan, which is the goals, and figure out, what you're trying to get out of the savings, because savers with a plan are actually twice as likely to be successful. Save the easy way, which is automatically. So if even you can do it as you have your bank or your financial institution, do the transfers, put the money where you want, or you do it automatically. Like I do it automatically on the first day of the month when I pay my bills. I put my money into savings. And I really enjoy that I'm the one that's doing it because then I'm touching it. I'm doing it. I'm making that decision. Wednesday is Save for the Unexpected. We've talked a bit about that. Thursday is Save to Retire. I think we all know that Americans really don't have adequate savings for retirement, but it's never too late. It's never too early either to start saving. Save the extra. So that means if you have a windfall or if you get a gift, a tax refund, those kind of things, is sure, maybe take a little bit and enjoy, but then put the rest aside for some of your longer term goals. And then save as a family. And I think that's really important. And this is how we teach children, how we socialize children, but also an opportunity to talk about what are our goals in our family? How do we feel about the money that comes in? What are our priorities? Why do we maybe choose to spend our money this way when the children might see the families of their friends spending money in other ways? And how is it that, families have their own priorities, they have their own values and goals, and right now we're going to do this, but later we might do that.
And if we want to take part in America Saves Week, how do we do that?
Well, you can go to americasaves.org. We'd love it if you live in Kansas to go to kansassaves.org and take the pledge, which means you set a goal for either a monthly savings amount or a total goal. And then also you'll be asked, what are you saving for? So are you saving for the unexpected? Are you saving for retirement? Are you saving for a down payment? Are you trying to pay off debt? And then just work toward it.
And this is a great way to do this because, like we mentioned at the beginning, there's an education component to this. So you're going to learn as you're doing this.
Right. You will get periodic communication from America Saves on different themes and with links to different resources. So that is, yes, definitely education. And you also know that you're part of something bigger. You're part of this group of people who are trying to save. They have goals. They're working towards something.
That's K-State Research and Extension Family Resource Management Specialist Elizabeth Kish. For more information, visit americasaves.org or kansassaves.org. You can also find personal financial information at county and district extension offices. Sound Living is a weekly public affairs program produced by Research and Extension at Kansas State University. I'm Jeff Wichman, and this is the K-State Radio Network.